Alright, welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at this season's Kill Team Balance Dataslate. So, very nice. Always like to see these come out. I do like the statistics, so we can legitimately break it down and see what's really going on. So this is the Balance Dataslate for Q3 of 2022. And this is right after the release of Kill Team Galladart. So while it's out there, none of this data is going to reflect that. With the release of Kill Team Into the Dark, the return of organized play, there's big changes afoot in the best skirmish game in the galaxy. Right on cue, the latest quarterly balanced status slate has arrived to keep things fair and make sure the games are as fun and exciting as possible. So, good looking Corsairs team there battling some novitiates. So we'll check this out in just a second. I want to see the stats. So what are the biggest changes? We turned to Kill Team Studio to find out. Kill Team Studio, overall, we're pretty happy with the state of the balance with a few exceptions. Win rates are looking close to our aim of 45 to 55%, and there has been a good mix of factions winning at events with 20 or more players. So for this data, they only use 20 or more players, which makes sense. So this is July and August win percentage. We have novitiates at the top with 62, blooded with 57. That's interesting. Wormblade with 56, Pathfinders with 55, Hunterclad with 55, Void Dancer Troop 55, Legionnaires 54, Corsair Void Guard 52, Veteran Guardsmen 52, Commandos 49, Warp Coven 46, Compendium 40, and Phobos Strike Team 39. I would love if they just had one more stat here, like not just the win percentages, but like the total of each of the factions as well. So like, if Novitius got 62%, but say there was like one person at each event recorded, we're just not going to get as accurate of a picture. Like Veteran Guardsmen have been good for a while. So now a lot more people play Veteran Guardsmen because they're good. It draws like people's attention or like, makes them want to use that faction so they can win. Because, naturally people like to win. You hear about strategies, you want to do them as well. So therefore, Veteran Guard might double or triple or quadruple in size. And then that brings down the win rate because there's a lot of people playing it that really aren't that good. They're just playing it because they're good. So sometimes these numbers can be skewed. Like the blooded team is really new. So right now, I wouldn't trust any data on the blooded for now. The same way I wouldn't really trust like the new Space Marine data as well. Like the Phobos data is probably not going to be that accurate. And then I don't think we're going to see the Intercessor data on here just yet. So yeah, interesting though. I do like to see the statistics. So, I mean, it makes sense. Novitiates are really good, so that does make sense. Blooded, we'll have to wait and see where this settles. Wormblade at 56, that is interesting. Pathfinders at 56 as well. Hunterclad. Yeah, that is very interesting. And then Void Dancers below that. But again, they're probably getting dragged down by a higher amount of people playing them, bringing down their win percentage. But, I mean, this is pretty good overall. It's crazy to see Veteran Guardsmen down here this low. Same with, like, Commandos, Warp Coven. Some of these are decent teams. So that is very interesting. I do like to see these stats. So we're entering a really interesting quarter for Kill Team. Into the Dark offers a brand new way to play, and a whole host of new factions have arrived. We don't want to change too much at this time to see how things settle with all the new variables. However, there have been some updates. So that makes sense. You don't want to change a ton right now because we're going into a whole new setting. The indoor setting is going to completely change win rates. The Adeptus Sororitas Novitiates have had a strong showing lately. We've increased the cost of a popular item of equipment, auto chastisers, and prevented players from using Acts of Faith on re-rolling dice. So if you choose to re-roll, you must accept that result. You cannot then use an Act of Faith to change that dice afterwards. That's a good change. That makes perfect sense. The auto chastisers, that both makes perfect sense. I like that. It's not like over the top to where they're just garbage now. The Phobos Strike Team started off well in June, but as their popularity has increased, their win rate has fallen behind. They've performed better than average in terms of podiums and event wins, so we believe they are a high-skill team with great potential. They can struggle, however, against other elite teams such as the popular Heretic Astartes Legionaries and the new Intercession Squad teams. So we've given them a new strategic ploy that will be particularly useful against those teams. We will continue to track their progress. While the Blooded had the second highest win rate, the data is unreliable, as their pick rate is the lowest of all the teams. They've only been available in the Kill Team Warrock set until recently, so we should have a better picture of their performance later this year, particularly in close confines of the Gallowdark. Okay, so that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. The Phobos are really popular, and that's kind of bringing down their kill rate, and then the Blooded are not popular at all, so a couple good players are making their win rate look good. And then also, if a team's not popular and people don't play it, other people aren't used to playing them, and there's a lot of like cool tricks and stratagems and play styles in Kill Team. So if you're not used to playing against Blooded because they're not that good, you could easily like find yourself on the receiving end of a beatdown. The Warp Coven had the second lowest pick rate, but unlike the Blooded, they have been present for a while. We've therefore given them some improvements for Rubric Marines. Elsewhere, kill teams from the compendium are falling behind the dedicated new factions. But as more kill team releases appear, factions within that book are slowly getting a tailor-made team to represent them. So yeah, that obviously makes sense. As the compendium teams are slowly getting replaced, the teams that haven't been replaced on the compendium are just getting worse and worse and less popular. But they're all kind of grouped together anyway, so I'm sure some are better than others. I think probably the two kill teams, well, we don't know about Krut and we don't know about the Navy yet. But I think two big kill teams to watch are going to be novitiates because they're really good. They can take two flame weapons. They're good in like close to like short to close range. They have, yeah, they're going to be really good in Gallowdark. They get a nice amount of bodies. Also Wormblade. I think Wormblade are going to do really well also. You know, they're already pretty high up on the list. They're pretty awesome, pretty sneaky. They have a lot of good tricks and stuff. I think Wormblade, a lot of body count, heavy weapons, etc. Good mobility overall. Pathfinders are going to be okay, but they're going to be restricted a lot by like shooting corridors. And it's just not, Pathfinders are really good out in the open, not quite as good in like the condensed areas. So they'll probably fall. Hunterclad should do okay. Void Dancers will probably rise in this environment because not being able to like move block people, there's a lot of like really strong stuff that Void Dancers can use. Having 3 action points apiece and 8 of them. You know, that's the big thing with Void Dancer troop is you get 8 of them and they're 3 action points each. So you have 24, as where if you're taking Space Marines or Chaos, you only get 6 guys with 3 action points each. That's 18. So you have to be able to make up that 6 AP gap with either equipment or skills or, you know, saves, whatever it is. You know, the 2 extra bodies and those 6 extra action points make it tough for Space Marines to do well. But I think there's some chance here for the Intercessors and probably the Phobos team too. We'll see what they got. Yeah, it's a very interesting time. The Corsairs were super high last time when they did one of these, but it makes sense that came down. The Vet Guard have fallen down. The big thing about Vet Guard is the 14 bodies is a big deal. I think we could probably see Blooded do well in this environment. They have still some heavy and special weapons. They do well in close to like short range. They have some good close combat. They have a big body blocker. Overall, I think they'll do well. And you can get 12 bodies with them with the Ogre and the like Commissar guy. So they could be really good. Also, the Gellerpox infected now. You can get 15 models with the Gellerpox. Now, 4 of them end up being just like little fleas and stuff with like 2 hit points. And then 4 of them also have like 6 hit points. So they're kind of weak in that sense, but they also have 4 big guys with 19 hit points and feel no pain. So there's an interesting dynamic there. I could see the Gellerpox infected doing really well. I could see them doing really well. Obviously, they are a close combat team. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. We also have, obviously, the Krut. They're pretty good. The Navy is, I think, pretty strong. They should do well. They're going to be popular. And then, obviously, the Starstriders coming back also. Starstriders are pretty strong. So, not going to be at the top. But I have a feeling that probably the Blooded and Gellerpox are going to rise to the top. And we're going to see Novitiates, Blooded, Wormblade, and Gellerpox up near the top with Void Dancers right behind. That's my guess, but we'll see how it all plays out. So let's take a look. All right, so here we have the Balance Dataslate for Q3 2022. This document contains the collected Q3 updates to the rules for game balance improvements. New updates can be identified by the presence of an asterisk. bullet point. So that's awesome. So core rules. So this is just everything incorporated, and then we'll see the asterisk for the new stuff. So the core rules are equipment. You can only select each equipment with the indirect special rule, i.e. dynamite, crack grenade, fusion grenade, once per battle. If a friendly operative already equipped with such equipment is selected for deployment, e.g. assault grenade or pathfinder, this counts as your selection. So like you can only have one crack grenade. If you have a guy who comes with a crack grenade, you can't pick another crack grenade. We already know that. That is good, restricting them to one per. Hunter-clad Doctrina imperatives can be selected each turning point instead of only twice per battle. Ignore each imperative's depreciation effect during the first turning point that is active for your kill team during the battle. Operative selection can take one additional operative, can include up to 3 gunner operatives. Each must still be equipped with a different ranged weapon, regardless of Sicarian operatives. And then Pathfinder, a worthy cause tactical ploy, 2 command points can only be used once per battle, only if you don't have the initiative. Assault Grenadier Pathfinder operative, delete the final sentence of the Grenadier ability. Benefit of 5+ marker light tokens. In the select valid target step of the shooting attack, the enemy operative is treated as if it has an engage order unless it is in cover provided by heavy terrain. So all good balances from before. Void Dancer Troop, Segras Jest strategic ploy. Change the relevant part of the first sentence to read: once in the resolved successful hit step of that combat when your opponent strikes with a normal hit. And then Citadel ability. Delete the 3rd bullet point from the effects of adding the 4th mark to your performance tally, so you don't get the command point benefit. Space Marines and Grey Knights, operative selection. Every fire team except Scout and Tactical Marines can take 1 additional warrior operative. Death Guard, operative selection. Plague Marine fire teams can take 1 additional warrior operative. Champion operative is instead of 1 warrior operative, not in addition. So Craft World, operative selection. Every fire team can take 1 additional warrior operative. Tomb World, Flayed One operatives add 1 both damage characteristic of Flayed Ones. Reanimation Protocol tactical ploy, 0 command points. And then we see Novitiates, Auto Chastiser. Equipment is 2 equipment points, and you cannot use Axe of Faith to change dice you've already rolled. So those are the 2 changes so far. And then for the Phobos Strike Team, Deadly Shots, 1 command point. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Phobos Strike Team operative makes a shooting attack, if it hasn't yet performed a charge, fallback, or normal move action during this turning point, bolt weapons it's equipped with gain the P1 critical hit rule for that shooting attack. This has no effect on weapons that already have the APX special rule or PX critical hit rule, respectively. So that is pretty good. I can see that's really going to be stronger against heavily armored guys. You know, if you have a 5-up save, you're probably getting mowed down by bolter fire. But if you have a 3-up save, and especially if you're in cover, or you have some defensive rules, it's difficult for the Phobos team without some kind of like special weapon. Now they do have mines and stuff like that, which are pretty good. They do have decent rules. They have decent guns and everything. But I could see this being a useful change. Now the only problem with this is, well, I guess it's pretty good. 1 command point, 6 members of your team gain it, potentially giving all of them, you know, on average. Are you going to roll a crit? Yeah, probably with each guy on each shooting attack. So not bad. I think the intercessors are just going to be an overall better team from what we've seen so far. But I'm interested to see how it flushes out. So let's keep going. I don't think that's a game changer for the Phobos. It's definitely nice to have an extra stratagem, but Warp Coven, Rubik command ability. So this is new. Change the distance requirement to 6 instead of 3. Rubik Affinity Battle Honor. For the purpose of the Rubik command ability, remove the distance requirement. The Rubik Marine operative only needs to be visible. Add the following to the Exalted Astartes strategic ploy. In addition, until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Rubik Marine operative is activated, if it does not perform a fight action during that activation, it can perform 2 shoot actions during that activation. If it is a gunner operative, 1 additional action point must be subtracted to perform the second shoot action. Okay, that's pretty good. If it does not perform a fight action during that activation, it can perform 2 shoot actions. So it can shoot twice, 1 command point each, but if it's a gunner, in order to shoot the second time, it needs to pay 2 action points for the second attack. So it would pay all 3 of its action points to shoot twice. So, you know, it would have to remain stationary theoretically. I mean, that makes sense. That's pretty good, honestly. I like that. That's strong for Warp Coven. So we'll see. We'll see how everything works out. Psychic powers are going to be an interesting new dynamic. Because prior, the Warp Coven had really good range on their psychic powers. And now they're going to not be able to use the range nearly as much. But they will be able to... Well, that's interesting. I'll have to check to see if they need line of sight as well. But also, you know, Torrent psychic power is going to be really good. The Torrent's flamers, like the sisters with the extra mortal wounds, are going to be really good. We'll see. This is going to be an interesting mix-up. I'm looking forward to Into the Dark. So replaced army lists. Over time, certain new army lists will be introduced that are designed to replace similar army lists from the compendium. We recommend the new army list replaces the older one where balance is concerned. Particularly in an organized play setting such as a tournament, these army lists and the replacements are as follows. Forge World replaced by Hunter Glad, Thousand Suns replaced by Warp Coven, and Troop replaced by Void Dancers. So really cool. Overall, not a ton of changes. Basically just at the end there, the last three. So just to sort of wrap it up, the Novitiates Auto Chastizer went up from 1 equipment point to 2. Novitiates can no longer use an Act of Faith to re-roll after a dice has been re-rolled, rather. The Full Boss Strike Team got a new Deadly Shots strategic ploy, giving them a little extra AP on crits. And then we see the Rubric Marines got a bunch of changes. The Rubric Command ability got extra range. The Rubric Affinity Battle Honor does not need the range requirement, just visibility. And then the following for the Exalted Astartes strategic ploy allows them to shoot twice if they did not fight that turn. And then also, if they're a gunner, they can shoot a second time but have to pay an additional action point. So very, very cool. I wonder, am I misreading that? Add the following to the Exalted Astartes strategic ploy. In addition, until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Rubric Marine operative is activated, if it does not perform a fight action during that activation, it can perform 2 shoot actions. Yeah, but you would still have to pay for the second shoot action. And then here you have to spend 1 additional action point. So yeah, that's correct how I said it. So interesting. I think Warp Coven definitely got the biggest boost from this. We'll see how everything plays out, but I do like it. I like the changes. I think toning down the sisters a little was a good idea as well, because they're only going to be stronger in the Gallowdark, in my opinion. I think those Torrent Flamers are going to be really good. They have some great combat. They have close range, special weapons, melt-a-guns, plasma pistols, all kinds of different stuff. So could be pretty wild. Looking forward to the Gallowdark. Looking forward to the new teams and the new rules and the new setting. I still want to play some regular Kill Team 2 mixed in, though. I don't want this whole season to just go all Space Hulk and nobody's playing like outdoors anymore. I really like to see a mix, and I think that's probably what we'll see in tournament settings, is a mix of regular Kill Team and also Into the Dark at the same events, and then also just specific events to either. And I think that's really good. I think it's really going to change up the meta, and I'm looking forward to it. I was a big fan of Arena. It didn't quite hit home for a lot of people until it seemed like it got popular right around when Kill Team 1 was going out of style or ending and Kill Team 2 was starting. So this is a really nice change. I love the new terrain that's out and everything, and I'm really looking forward to all of the fun and all of the content that is to come. So if you did enjoy today's video, if you're into Kill Team, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know about the changes, what you like, what you don't like, what you think is going to be doing best, what the best teams are. Are you just now getting into Kill Team? Let me know. Always like to hear back from you guys. If you do enjoy these daily videos, reactions, reviews, and news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the playlists to find the content you're looking for. And we do put out at least one video every single day for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and of course some Horus Heresy as well. I am Warhammer Man. This is Warhammer Man Studios, and I'm out of here.